paragraph to bring up to the speed the meeting of Usha and Anuruddha. Chitralekha, while talking, began to draw many pictures of the demigods inhabiting the higher planetary systems. Then pictures of the Gandharvas, Siddhas, Charanas, Panangas, Daityas, Vidyadharas, and Yakshas, as well as many human beings. In the parenthesis, the statements of the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literature prove definitely that on each and every planet there are living entities of different varieties. Therefore, it is foolish to assert that there are no living entity but those on this earth. Parenthesis over. Chitralekha painted many pictures. Among those of the human being was the Vrishni dynasty, including Vasudev, the father of Krishna, Shushena, the grandfather of Krishna, Sri Balramji, Lord Krishna, and many others. When Usha saw the picture of Pradyumna, she became a little bashful. But when she saw the picture of Anuruddha, she became so bashful that she immediately lowered her head and smiled, having found the man she was seeking. She identified the picture of Chitralekha as that of the man who had stolen her heart. So that's where we read last time, so we will continue. Chitralekha was a great mystic yogini, and as soon as Usha identified the picture, although neither of them had ever seen him nor knew his name, Chitralekha could immediately understand that the picture was of Aniruddha, a grandson of Krishna. That very night, she traveled in outer space, and within a very short time reached the city of Dwarka, which was well protected by Krishna. She entered the palace and found Aniruddha sleeping in his bedroom on a very opulent bed. Chitralekha, by her mystic power, immediately brought Aniruddha in their sleeping condition to the city of Sonitpur, so that Usha might see her desired husband. Usha immediately bloomed in happiness and began to enjoy the company of Aniruddha with great satisfaction. The palace in which Usha and Chitralekha lived was so well fortified that it was impossible for any male to either enter or to see inside. Usha and Anuruddha lived together in the palace, and day after day, the love of Usha for Anuruddha grew 4 times upon 4 times. Usha pleased Anuruddha with her valuable dresses, flowers, garlands, scents, and incense. By this bedside sitting place were other paraphernalia for residential purposes, nice drinks such as milk and sherbet, and nice eatable which could be chewed or swallowed. Above all, she pleased him with sweet words and very obliging service. Anuruddha was worshipped by Usha as if he were the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By her excellent service, Usha made Anuruddha forget all other things and was able to draw his attention and love upon her without deviation. In such an atmosphere of love and service, Aniruddha practically forgot himself and could not recall how many days he had been away from his real home. In due course of time, Usha exhibited some bodily symptoms by which it could be understood that she was having intercourse with a male friend. The symptoms were so prominent that her actions could no longer be concealed from anyone. Usha was always cheerful in the association of Aniruddha, but she did not know the bounds of her satisfaction. The housekeeper and the watchman of the palace could guess very easily that she was having relations with a male friend, and without waiting for further development, all of them informed their master Banasur. In Vedic culture, an unmarried girl having association with a male is the greatest disgrace to the family. And so the caretaker cautiously informed his master that Usha was developing symptoms indicating a disgraceful association. The servant informed their master that they were not at all neglectful in guarding the house, being alert day and night against any young man who might enter. They were so careful that a male child not even see what was going on there. And so they were surprised that she had become contaminated. Since they could not trace out the reason for it, they submitted the whole situation before their master. So Banasur was shocked to understand that his daughter Usha was no longer a virgin maiden. This weighed heavily on his heart, and without delay, he rushed toward the palace where Usha was living. There he saw that Usha and Aniruddha were sitting together and talking. Usha and Aniruddha looked very beautiful together. Aniruddha being the son of Pradyumna, who was Cupid himself. Banasur saw his daughter and Aniruddha as a suitable match. Yet for family prestige, he did not like the combination at all. Banasur could not understand who the boy actually was. He appreciated the fact that Usha could not have selected anyone in the three worlds more beautiful. Aniruddha's complexion was brilliant and swarthy. He was dressed in a yellow garments and had eyes just like lotus petals. His arms were very long and he had nice curling bluish hair. The glaring rays of his glittering earrings and the beautiful smile on his lip were certainly captivating. Still, Banasur was very angry. So when Banasur saw him, Aniruddha was engaged in playing with Usha. Aniruddha was nicely dressed, and Usha had garlanded him with various beautiful flowers. The reddish kumkum powder put on the breast of the woman was spotted here and there on the garland, indicating that Usha had embraced him. Banasur was struck with wonder that even in his presence, Aniruddha was peacefully sitting in front of Usha. Aniruddha knew, however, that his would-be father-in-law was not at all pleased, and that he was gathering many soldiers in the palace to attack him. Thus, not finding any other weapon, Aniruddha took hold of a big iron rod and stood up before Banasur and his soldiers. He firmly took a posture indicating that if he were attacked, he would strike all of the soldiers without mercy. Before Banasur, the soldiers from all sides attempted to capture and arrest him. When they dared to come before him, Aniruddha struck them with the rod, breaking their heads, legs, arms, and thighs, and one after another. They began to fall to the ground. He killed them just as the leader of the flock of house kills barking dogs, one after another. In this way, Anuruddha was able to escape the palace. So Banasur knew various art of fighting, and by the grace of Lord Shiva, he knew how to arrest his opposing enemy by the use of Nagapas, snake news. And so Aniruddha was seized as he came out of the palace. When Usha received the news that her father has arrested Aniruddha, she became overwhelmed with grief and confusion. Tears began to glide down her eyes, and being unable to check herself, she began to cry very loudly. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second volume, 7th chapter of Krishna, the meeting of Usha and Anuruddha. Chapter will be beginning chapter 8. Lord Krishna fights with Banasur. When the 4 months of rainy season passed and still Anuruddha had not returned home, all the members of the Yadu family became much perturbed. They could not understand how the boy was missing. Fortunately, one day the great sage Narada came and informed the family about Aniruddha's disappearance from the palace. He explained how Aniruddha had been carried to the city of Sonitpur, the capital of Banasur's empire, and how Banasur had arrested him with the Nag Pass. Even though Aniruddha had defeated his soldiers, this news was given in detail and the whole story was disclosed. Then the member of the Yadu dynasty, all of whom had great affection for Krishna, prepared to attack the city of Sonitpur. Practically all the leaders of the family, including Pradyumna, Satyaki, Gada, Shamba, Sharan, Nanda, Upananda, and Bhadra, combined together and gathered 18 Akshuhini military divisions. Then they all went to Sonitpur and surrounded it with soldiers, elephants, horses, and chariots. So Banasur heard that the soldiers of the Yadu dynasty were attacking the whole city, tearing down various walls, gates, and nearby gardens. Becoming very angry, he immediately ordered his soldiers, who were of equal caliber, to go and face them. Lord Shiva was so kind to Banasur that he personally came as the commander-in-chief of the military force, assisted by his heroic son Kartikeya and Ganpati. Seated on his favorite bull, Nandishwar, Lord Shiva led the fighting against Lord Krishna and Balram. We can simply imagine how fierce the fighting was. Lord Shiva with his valiant sons on one side, and Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his elder brother, Sri Balramji, on the other side. The fighting was so fierce that those who saw the battle were struck with wonder, and the hairs on their bodies stood up. Lord Shiva was engaged in fighting directly with Lord Krishna. Pradyumna was engaged with Kartikeya. And Lord Balaram was engaged with Banasur's commander-in-chief, Kumbhanda, who was assisted by Kupkarna. Shamba, the son of Krishna, was engaged in fighting with the son of Banasur. And Banasur was engaged in fighting with Satyaki, commander-in-chief of the Yadu dynasty. In this way, the fighting was waged. News of the fighting spread all over the universe. Demigods such as Lord Brahma from the higher planetary systems, along with great sage and saintly persons, Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas, all being very curious to see the fight between Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna, and their assistants, were hovering over the battlefield in their airplanes. Lord Shiva is called the Bhutanath, being assisted by various types of powerful ghosts and denizens of the inferno, Bhutas, Pretas, Pramathas, Kuhyaksa, Dakinis, Pisachas, Kusumandas, Vedatals, Vinayaksas, and Brahma Raksas. In parentheses, of all kind of ghosts, the Brahma Rakshasas are very powerful. Brahmanas transferred to the role of ghost become Brahman Rakshasas. Parenthesis over. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, simply drove all these ghosts away from the battlefield, beating them with his celebrated bow, Shunga Dhanu. Lord Shiva then began to release all his selected weapons upon the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, without any difficulty, counteracted all these weapons with counter weapons. He counteracted the Brahmastra, similar to the atomic bomb, by another Brahmastra, and an air weapon by a mountain weapon. When Lord Shiva released a particular weapon, bringing about a violent hurricane on the battlefield, Lord Krishna presented just the opposing element, a mountain weapon, which checked the hurricane on the spot. Similarly, when Lord Shiva released his weapon of devastating fire, Krishna counteracted with torrents of rain. At last, when Lord Shiva released his personal weapon called Pasupat Shastra, Krishna immediately counteracted it by the Narayana Shastra. Lord Shiva then became exasperated in fighting with Lord Krishna, and Krishna then took the opportunity to release his yawning weapon. When this weapon is released, the opposing party becomes tired, stop fighting, and begin to yawn. Consequently, Lord Shiva became so fatigued that he refused to fight anymore and began to yawn. Krishna was now able to turn his attentions from the attack of the Lord Shiva to the effort of Banasur. And he began to kill his personal soldiers with swords and clubs. Meanwhile, Lord Krishna's son Pradyumna was fighting fiercely with Kartikeya, the commander-in-chief of the demigods. Kartikeya was wounded and his body was bleeding profusely. In this condition, he left the battlefield and without fighting anymore, rode away on the back of his peacock carrier. Similarly, Lord Balram was smashing Banasur's commander-in-chief Kumbhanda with the stroke of his club. Kumbhkarna was also wounded in this way, and both he and Kumbhanda fell on the battlefield, the commander-in-chief being fatally wounded. Without guidance, all of Banasur's soldiers scattered here and there. We can read one more paragraph. When Banasur saw that his soldiers and commander had been defeated, his anger only increased. He thought it wise to stop fighting with Satyaki, Krishna's commander-in-chief, and instead directly attack Lord Krishna. Now, having the opportunity to use his 1,000 hands, he rushed over Krishna, simultaneously working 500 bows and 2,000 arrows. Such a foolish person could never measure Krishna's strength. Immediately, without any difficulty, Krishna cut each of Banasur's bows into 2 pieces, and to check him from going further, made his chariot's horses lay on the ground. The chariot then broke to pieces. After doing this, Krishna blew his conch-shell, Panchajanya. So I think we should stop here. And always remembering these wonderful pastimes, we can always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever come across, we should give them the same benefit by remaining happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. With those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who join every morning from Houston, from Fresno, New Hampshire, Aurora, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, College Station, San Jose, Portland, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Alachua, Orlando, Sanford, Jacksonville, San Diego, Loganville, Georgia, Maine, Ottawa, New Orleans, Toronto, Pondicherry, and Ramapriya Prabhu from Bangalore joined today. So I think the devotee who has to take their role, perform the duty, they are welcome to live. And the devotees who has the time to hang around, they can do. But I was thinking that I am running behind on my gardening. Even yesterday, I work in the afternoon